Recording. Yes, recording in progress in 15th of December 2025. And this will be our last meeting for this year, I would say. And I'm happy to see you. And I can start with a check-in because I was in England for 11 days and I came home an hour and a half ago. I have now the good fire in my, because it was 12 grads in my flat, so it was really cold. But now I'm cozy, sitting right in front of the fire. And I'm happy for many reasons, but also for to see you and that we can end the year. I
And how
give over
were the 11 days?
11 days, maybe even from Thursday to Monday. So I don't know how many that is. Many. But it seemed to be very few, actually. I could have stayed longer.
Hmm. Nice.
Okay.
Nice to see you happy.
Yes, I really am. And with many visions and let's say projects which are not yet clear, but it's a sort of, yeah, we will see. I give over to you, Gertraud.
Yeah. What should I say? I was 3 weeks in they call it pain-free summit. I think I've talked about it already, the original body. And that was really revealing, and I decided I will not have a hip replacement. I will find other ways. And that was kind of relieving. It was a good decision. So with nutrition, with body structural stuff, with sports. So we'll see. Yeah. And in the instant change field, there's a lot of things going on. So they reduced the price for the training, which is really great. So people and I have had one session today, and there was kind of a trauma, so like trauma leaving, and I felt like it was sitting in my body, in my stomach, more not stomach, in the belly, and it was as if the fat around it, there was like a black thing inside, and outside it was wrapped up in fat, and so I couldn't lose my fat unless I release that old trauma. And I don't even know what it is, but it was kind of streaming out into Mother Earth. And I felt like now I can lose weight. So it was really, I don't know what happened, but it felt like a very intense weeks right now. Yeah. And on Wednesday, my husband will be having a new immune therapy. So we're preparing for that. It's been a interesting, tough, completely out of normal year. So it's good to complete that and create the new one. Yep. So I just stumbled in. I know I didn't have a plan what to say. So Christine, I hand it over to you.
Okay. You guys know my check-in is usually that everything's fine. 99% of the time, I'm just cruising along. But I don't know what's going. I'm very disrupted. Um, I mentioned we've got a bathroom remodel going on, so there's that chaos and decision making. There's Christmas, which is always fun, but a lot of decision making. I'm retiring, so there's that emotionality. We've had two family dramas, my sister having to see her ex-husband, which is not that big of a deal, but she calls me to try to deal with that. And then another family drama, somebody's moving away to another state and it's causing estrangement. Estrangement within not directly my family, but their family. And again, they turn to me to see if I can help. Uh, both parties are turning to me, and then I have to not tip my hand that I know too much about what anybody has said or anything like that. So that's been kind of stressful as well. Very sad. Actually, all except for the bathroom remodeling and Christmas, those are happy things, good things. But the rest of it has been more, on the negative side. So, yeah, I'm not feeling like myself, my usual buoyant, you know, take it as it comes self. So, yeah, but it's okay. I mean, I'm aware of what's going on and trying to take better care of myself and ask for what I need. So just chugging along. I've got 3 more Mondays, 3 more weeks till the end of the end of the month for work, and people are upset. So it makes me sad. But yeah, so I'll go into the office this morning and probably face more of that again today. And I will turn it over to Monia.
Yeah, thank you. Um, you are wearing red. It's good. So we look at energy. Yeah. I had my bones measured, the density of my bones measured today because the doctor said it's the routine. And it looks like they have become stronger. I don't, maybe it's because I do exercise. I don't know why, but so I'm not upset. That's fine, but I noticed it was a lot of stress without, you don't have to do much. You just lie down there, take off your pants, and this thing runs over you. But
Mhm.
obviously, it was very stressful for me, nevertheless, and I slept for 2 hours afterwards. So my daughter drove me there, and that was very nice because she knows herself around. She knows where to park and where to. So that was helpful, and yeah, and otherwise it's very Christmassy. We have lots of light decorations in the windows, and also some of our neighbors now decorated as well, finally. And somebody, our opposite neighbor, he hadn't done anything in 10 years since he's here. Now, this year, he has a white gallon. So that's very nice to look at. And of course, we have our usual, and we have it on in the morning because it's very dark, and the poor people who have to go to work have some light to look at. And otherwise, yeah, it's just the usual. And we are eating lots of cookies. I have to admit, I got so many. I don't bake, so I bought just to be on the safe side. And now wherever I look, there is a cookie jar. And my husband, of course, just passing by. Yeah, well, I'll take one. So we are really probably eating too much sweets, but it's Christmas. Okay, and I just read that Victoria has another emergency, so I pass on to Heidi.
You're muted.
Yeah, I'm muted. It happens also to me after all these years. Yeah, 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 yeah. I got a message from Hanneli. She is greeting everybody. She couldn't come. She says she has no privacy today. and she says thank you to everybody for what we have supported her a little bit, and that something is showing up for her, and it seems that things are going better. That's is good, and yeah, Happy New Year, Merry Christmas, and all these things. She wrote, so I'm glad for that. And Anneli, in case if you hear it, back to you. I didn't really hear a topic for today. Maybe in some way letting go. I don't know.
I think
Or
of this as a season of trying to find peace. I don't know. I don't know if that's a topic or not, where we look for peace, how we find peace.
It's a good topic for me because in these days I felt complete peace. Also, during the day I more or less was at home in a little flat, and but it felt like, oh, that's good, so that's everything. So yeah, I think peace is, from my present vision, something which is happening in oneself. It doesn't depend very much from outside. Outside, yeah, it would be good if there was peace, but I think if we want to create peace outside, we need to first find it inside. So that's my how do you say, trigger towards you if you want to pursue on this topic.
Just have to apologize that I'm yawning so much. I don't know. It was a full day, so I'm kind of yeah. So it's not because it's boring or anything like that.
Maybe you are in peace now, in relaxation and peace with yourself, maybe. Yeah, it's good.
Yeah, I
so-
think sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, to be in peace, for me, it's also with letting go. It's related, and it's kind of, when, of course, I want my husband to be better and I want him to live long, but there's also something like being at peace with whatever will happen. So, but I think that's something, it's not always there, but there is a growing, yeah. I told you about my brother who has the same, and he's now, his wife is pregnant again, so they are having a third child, and it's kind of like, yeah, it's now 5 years or so that, and he's very strong, but he's living in the way knowing it could end very soon. So it's kind of, so yeah, there's, of course, knowing your priorities, but also being at peace if it's different, if his life plan, his soul plan is different. So that was my biggest thing for this year, to more and more be with what's so, and handle and not attached to the outcome. Can I say that? Yeah.
Can I ask a question,
Sure.
Gertrude? I don't know if you've experienced this, but if you and your husband have arrived at peace at different times, like sometimes somebody is like, no, fight, 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 and the other person's, I'm at peace with this, or vice, could be either one, and you may not land at peace at the same time. And I'm not sure if you've experienced that or not.
I think he has more a Buddha nature than I do. So he was pretty, of course he was afraid. Of course he had downs, but pretty early on, he was like, you don't know. And we take it and we do the best that we can do. And he is, so for me, he's kind of a role model for that. And I had to find my own way, not exactly his, but to find my way to just be in the moment and do what's. And also when he recovered, like slowly, to see where's my role. Before I had to do everything, and now he can like turn on the dishwasher or whatever. So yeah, to find a new equilibrium every time, like it's not fixed, it's a new. And I'm working more now than I have been during the whole year, things like that. Or I dared to go to Amsterdam for the WeFlow training. Sorry. End January. So yeah, to leave him for 4 days, that was impossible to think about even during the summer. But yeah, things like that. So I would say he is pretty much in the moment with whatever he does. So
Does that help you? Does that help? Do you kind of bounce off of that to yourself, or?
before I was kind of envious because I was more like in my emotions. But since he got sick, or we noticed that he was sick, I think I don't know. I was just, and many people visiting us were astonished that in what mental shape he was. And for me, it was also like to be with him was a lot easier than if he went into depression or was angry or whatever might come out of this diagnosis. But yeah, he was very and grateful for everything we did as family. So it was really loving. And that was very supportive for me to do the things that I needed to do. So he really, really appreciated them. So, and it's funny, sometimes it's now getting back to normal. So he's sometimes grumpy and said, oh, a good sign of health, of regaining health. So, yeah.
So hello, Gina. Glad you
Great.
came. Do you want to check in? We have hardly begun to talk.
There we go. Okay, good.
Mm.
Yes, good morning. Good morning, everybody. You may be laugh, Gertrude, because one of the girls at my exercise class, which is why I'm late on Mondays, said she knew her mother was feeling better when she started getting grumpy and yelling at the TV. And so they were all encouraged that how well she recovered because she's back to shouting at the TV. So yeah, I would say it's been we're having atmospheric rivers at the moment, and we're just in between rivers. So we've had a lot of water here, and it's been a lot darker than normal. But the sun came out on my way home. I'm like, wow, this feels so wonderful just to see it. It was kind of bright. I'm feeling pretty good. I got my ethics application in, so it's now in the system. Hooray. And so I can relax for the rest of the month and first week into January and start writing then. But it's nice to not have to do anything to do a school for a while. Nothing. So that's good. Looking forward to my girlfriend's coming from Ottawa and my daughter will come from Vancouver, and our usual community of orphans and widowers will join us for dinner. So I'm feeling very positive and very grateful. And my cohort, which is, 12 of the most wonderful women who are extraordinarily diverse, from Iran, Brazil, Colombia, just amazing. And we all get along so well. And there's no competition, there's only kindness. And so we had a farewell to one girl who has to go home to Colombia to look after her father because it's in her culture. That's what you do when your father needs you. But the support that we had going around this group and the wonderful cohesion, I don't think I've ever seen that in an academic situation or at work. I mean, I feel like we have wonderful cohesion here, but a year, 18 months ago we were all strangers, and now there's this really deep caring and really deep check-in, and I we're I think we're kind of unique and special. So I was feeling very, very grateful for that, and also very grateful for the many and wonderful and unusual friends that I have. But so I'm just feeling gratitude today. Thank you.
In terms of peace, the phrase that goes through my mind, and maybe some of you are familiar with this phrase, the peace that passes all understanding. Has anybody heard that before? Yeah. And for me, that suggests, again, trying to turn your thinking down because you're not going to figure it out, and that the wisdom is not about understanding necessarily, but perhaps more the experience or the trust or the hope. I guess peace for me is a hopeful thing. It suggests that everything's not that it's going to be all right necessarily. But yes, as Heidi said, the kind of letting go so that whatever the outcome is, either way, good or bad, up or down, left or right, it can be okay. And that it's not necessarily understood, but perhaps felt. I don't know if anybody else relates to that or not.
Yeah, right now I'm reading for the first time or again. So Ken Wilber's The Simple Feeling of Being. And it's just it's a spiritual from the first word to the last one, probably. But it brings me peace because we talked about peace. And I noticed that I'm trying to think less and just experience being. This is what I really do now regularly all day long. And this book Of course, it's a mental challenge, but it's at the same time, it makes me feel at ease just being. So I can recommend it. I really can recommend it. It's the simple feeling of being. And actually, when I went and saw him in 2006, he signed it. So it's a very precious book for me, but I haven't read it really. And now I'm reading it and I'm feeling comfortable with it and at peace. Yeah. Okay.
This is, I think, an important aspect. This learning to live in being. You know, I also noticed that I think much less and I'm much more in, okay. When we went around, I learned to drive on the left side, by the way. It was was a big challenge, but still I didn't, when I drove, I thought, how do I turn around right and how to right left and so on. That was a little less being, but in different situations when I was on the other side of the car and didn't have to pay attention, I really could enjoy to be there and to watch the countryside. And we went, for instance, in something like Stonehenge. It's not Stonehenge, it's Aysbury, where all these stone blocks, let's say, in the ground. And, it's just, I look around and think, oh. So it's a completely different way of being, actually, yeah. This feeling of being instead of needing to arrive somewhere and needing to worry about I don't know what, and this for me was a good experience, and I would say I'm still in that. So being instead of doing. We are not human doings, no? We are meant to be human beings, aren't we? By the way, I was also challenged by the English dialect with some people because I learned English more on the American side, and and sometimes when 3 or 4 people talk like this and quickly, I feel like I have to do a course in British English and learn a little bit more of the words. I realize that I'm not good in expressing myself because these words are missing. Now they come in Italian instead. And so maybe I do another course. Maybe somebody of you knows a good online course which I could take. We will see. I give over to who wants to be.
I'm just thinking of when my mom died. She was 88 and dementia, and so she still recognized us, but like 5-year-old level. And she had a stroke 4 days before she passed, and somehow the day before, I felt like I have to visit her, and hopped on the car and went there just out of, didn't know why, but I just had a very big urge to be there. And she had a stenosis, so her aorta was not 4 centimeters diameter, but 0.4. So she could just collapse anytime or whatever. So this was one of the causes for the stroke. And I was there before, so in the afternoon or so I came there, and then she was lying in bed and was like really breathing very hard. So like, and I didn't know what to do, so I just laid down in the bed and took her and said, "Oh, Mom, what can I do?" And she really came out of almost not having enough breath and really anxious and whatever. And then she said, "Oh, it is like it is." And it was repeatedly. So after that, and it fell, and then she looked at me and smiled at me. And my father said when she was 16, he first fell in love with her. She didn't want to marry him then, but after the war then. And I could see that little girl, or not yet grown up girl, and that my father fell in love with. And this was like very peaceful moments, even though they were life-threatening at that. I mean, the breathing. And I felt very much at ease. And then she said, "Well, you have to drive home." And so she was a little bit anxious. And I left her. And in the morning, the nurses found her. So it was the last time I could even speak to her. And the last 4 days, I was there constantly. So somebody of us was there constantly to be with her. And she had the hand of one of my siblings, and when this one left, somebody else had to take over. So she never lost hand contact. And then I said, when she passed, it was very peaceful, very slowly, so diminishing the breathing, and all of a sudden there wasn't, and then you hardly knew the difference. And I was sitting there for death watch during the night, and it was so peaceful, so like. And a shaman friend of mine, I was calling him from there, and he said, "Let me check in." And, okay, this is not normal, but your mom is like a little girl skipping into the light. So without any detour or any hesitation. So I could feel like, and it was so, yeah. And for me that night, or those days, were really like, I'm not afraid of dying. Not at all. This kind of was different. My dad was different, but this was, if you don't have any things to regret, and then can be just a very nice, very soft, very peaceful transition. And yeah, I was just thinking peaceful was in the midst of life-threatening, not being able to breathe, and then said, "Oh, it is like it is." So yeah, and as Christine said, it's not that everything's going to be all right. It's just, can you be with what's so? Yep. Was just reminded of that.
I wanted to add, you say, can you be what is so? And the same as with good things, Can you be with good things, or do you say, oh no, I don't merit this, and blah, 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 all these attitudes we had picked up maybe in the past. So just not to overflow with excitement, and not to overflow with fear, but find the balance, no? And that's what I would call also peace. Find the peace within you, and do not prefer one side over the other, let's say. And even when I'm learning, when I don't feel well, not to flee and think, oh, it might, hopefully it will pass, but to feel into it and see, oh, what is this? How does it feel? And then normally it melts away in some way, this this is. Yeah. Victoria, say what you have written in the chat. That would be good.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, I've mentioned it, I guess, in the Frauen am Brunnen or the Integralen Frauen or somewhere, because I remember, because it was in the German context. My late husband's grandmother lost what came from a very wealthy family, and she was from Nuremberg in Germany, and she married a Polish aristocrat who was in the army, and they invested their entire fortune, which was considerable, in war bonds to help the cause in the First World War, and lost everything, of course. And so she eked out her days. They were completely, I mean, they had nothing at the end of World War I, and she learned to make mustard, and she sold it door to door. And then she made these little figures out of dried, out of prunes and peanuts. I bring them out at Christmas. I haven't brought them out yet, but they're Pflaumenmännchen or something. I don't remember what their name is in German, but they're these wonderful little figures. And she made them and sold them door to door along with the mustard, and that's how they survived. And her saying that went through the generations in the family, and I learned it, was "Wie es ist recht," which means it's just right the way it is. So that radical acceptance, I guess, would be the like radical acceptance therapy or whatever in psychology. But it was so powerful that in the family that it passed on through the generations of this sense of acceptance, regardless of the circumstances. And I put in the reference to Christine when you came and you mentioned the peace that passes all understanding, which I love too. That's a great phrase. So that's from Philippians. But that sense of, and in my Buddhist groups, I've done so many now, I feel like I won't say it. But in almost every Buddhist list, because the Buddha loved lists of all kinds, and there are thousands and thousands of them. In almost every single list, one of the virtues is equanimity, and it's one of the few that cuts right through this, like in every the short list, the long list, whether you're studying the virtues or skillful behavior, or what, it always comes up, and it's one of the few that you keep seeing again and again. And I think that's the same idea, this equanimity. Whatever happens, you accept it and you do what you can, but you don't resist, and you don't despair, and you just kind of keep forging ahead. Sorry I couldn't come on before. I'm celebrating Simbangabi, which is a Filipino holiday. It goes for 9 days, and it's very intense. And it starts in the dark in the morning with a mass, and there was the one last night, a huge one with 3 bishops, and it was a really big deal. I just love it more than life itself. I wait all year for it. And this morning there was a mass at dawn, well, before dawn. It was still dark. And then they had this breakfast afterwards, and one of the members of the Filipino community brought these fabulous guavas from his tree, and I bit into one, and the seed embedded itself. I'm waiting to get a crown. I'm waiting for my insurance to clear it because it's thousands of dollars. Anyway, it threw me into a total panic. Talk about wie es ist recht. So I've been fighting to try to get. Oh, there she is. Hello. I've been trying to get it out. So it was not so I heard everything everybody said, but I was battling with my tooth, and I didn't want you to have to look at that. And I didn't succeed, so I have to go to the dentist at 3:30. But Anyway, that's my check-in and my check-out. And I mean, I'm not going away, but hello.
Victoria,
Do you
can
have
I
a
just
roof?
ask a question?
Yeah.
So I'm curious, what is it about the Filipino 9 days that you experience, especially in terms of peace? What does it offer you that other rituals haven't? What is it
Oh,
that
I
you
love
love so
that.
much?
Thank you. Well, thank you. Um, it's it's just incredibly full of joy and expectation. It really makes Advent feel like Advent. Like it's almost it's it's almost a letdown when Christmas finally comes around because you've been like really going at it for 9 days and getting up in the dark and going to mass in the dark, and there's tons of music and singing. It's in Tagalog, which is a language I have no clue what anything means, but I love. It's all vowels, not all vowels, but it's easy to sing. It's in our alphabet. So they put on the big screen the songs, the words, and I sing along lustily. And there's a big choir, and everyone's dressed up. And the Filipino community. I mean, we've been going to a church daily mass that we're not members of, and we never will join. But they were the ones who welcomed us literally the first day we walked in years ago now, and embraced us as being part of their community. And we're not Filipino, and we have nothing to do with it. And it's interesting because the church is like half Filipino and half Hispanic, and the Hispanic community, which I would have expected would have been like that, because I have a lot of friends who are Mexican, were standoffish. I think because of the language. I mean, because they have their own Spanish mass. The Filipinos wait all year for these 9 days of masses that, the most of the stuff's in English, but the songs are all in Tagalog. For me, I've never been to the Philippines, but it's that sense of where you're being embraced and included, and you're like family, and you absolutely, absolutely don't deserve it. I don't have a clue about the language or the cultures. Well, now I'm learning, but it's so beautiful. Talk about orphans. I think Gina, you were mentioning you have Christmas for all your orphaned friends, and um, I'm I'm very much orphaned, and so is my friend Alfred. We have been for years, and that's the miracle. It's like this. We have this family, and we don't deserve it, and it's just beautiful. But thanks for that question, Christine. Okay, over to you, Beatrice. You look very
Just a
tired.
minute. How is your roof coming along?
Oh, it's finished allegedly. They're halfway through the solar panels, waiting for some kind of inspector. Very stressful and very nightmarish, but thank you. But there is a roof. There is a roof. There is hope. Okay, thank you for the questions and everything. Okay, Beatrice, over to you.
Sorry I'm late, everybody. I was still sleeping. Just finished the second weekend of Nutcracker. We've done 10 shows, and we have 10 shows to go. Um, I have 3 days off now, and then I work 7 days in a row, starting Thursday. So these are my 3 days to get all of my resting in, to get all of my laundry done, to get all of my packing done, to get all of my Christmas gifts. Everything comes out of these 3 days. And then I'll be in full work mode for 7 days. The first couple ones I'm doing some prep work and other things, and then it's 2 shows a day. So that's my whole world. I got to call the cues for the student show last week. It was my first time doing that, and that was very exciting and also a lot of adrenaline. I don't know, that's really everything right now. We've had more sunshine and more like a little bit warmer weather. That's a little bit unusual for this time of year, but it's been nice. So when I do get to go outside, which is rare, I get to enjoy that. That's about what I've got to say at the moment.
Is your boyfriend traveling with you at Christmas, or is he going into his own family?
Both of our families are in San Diego, so that's convenient. We might, we're still sorting out all the logistics. Galen's grandmother lives in LA and can't travel anymore. And so I think that whole family is planning to do Christmas there. And they've invited my mother and me to join. So yeah, we're still figuring out the logistics, but we're probably going to do a couple days for Christmas up there and then the rest of the time in San Diego. Yeah.
That fits in with the orphan theme, I think.
So we started out talking about peace. So let's have Christmas as a celebration of peace.
Just looking at my calendar, so we will have another meeting this year on the 29th.
Oh, we could if you want.
Yeah.
Shall we finish here and check out and talk about it later after the recording?
Okay.
You can start with checkout, Monia.
Peacefully. Yeah, well, there are a couple of things that have not been quite covered yet, like our change of the administration of our house, but we sort of take it in stride, and there are younger ones who can take care of that as well. And yeah, for me, it's easier to be peaceful than to be on the go and eager to do and to accomplish something. So as I also have been saying for quite some time now, it's past. It's all right as it is. Yeah. I'm passing on to Gertrud.
When you were talking about the book and being, it doesn't mean that we don't do anything. It's just out of what state of mind are we going into action, and in what speed, and is it adrenaline fueled or more oxytocin or other nice hormones. So for me, it's not either action or not. And being, it's more like, can I first go into being and being peaceful, or yeah, whatever I wish to be, and then looking what action might be appropriate to what's in front of me, but not out of this hamster wheel thing, or I have to, and things like that. So yeah, I'm something like, may there be many moments of peace from which our daily life actions dwell. Yeah. And this year's special, when we go to Christmas to one of our daughters, and the others come there to visit. Yeah, to be grateful for where we landed. It was so different in March. I couldn't expect that. And so a lot of gratitude coming with that piece. And by the way, say hello to Tom, please, Christine.
I think when I was younger, so much of preparation for Christmas was up to me. Everything from decorating to the food to the carols to the presents, the whole thing, right? And so I didn't feel any Christmas peace until I was all prepared, right? All the Advent preparation. But the Advent preparation wasn't a peaceful thing. It was like, what more do I have to do? And so, one, it helps when your children are adults. There's not as much to do. You can let go of some of that. I've let go of a lot of it. So this year is different again, I think, because we've got stuff going on in our house. I haven't cooked. I haven't been doing as much decorating. I've let a lot of it go. So I do feel like there's a certain amount of peace that is accessible around Christmas. That normally I'd be on the treadmill trying to get things done. So it's one of the good things about getting older. You realize what you don't want to hang on to anymore, what's not necessary to hang on to anymore. So that's a benefit of getting older.
Well, I'll pick up from that because two things came to mind. So I'll go with the first thing. The first thing was that uh, common thing in churches is at some point you turn to people around you and say, "Peace be with you." And even though I think that was meant to be genuine, actually for me in that scenario, being told when to say that actually felt kind of awkward. But I have to say that with this group this morning, I'm feeling like we can say that, or I feel like I can say that in a far more genuine way. And I'm like, yeah, may peace be with you. And it just feels like you can maybe when I'm wishing people Merry Christmas this season, maybe I'll say Merry Christmas and may peace be with you because I think it's just coming from a different place. And part of it is uh, certainly, Christine, I've been super type A. Like I had to make all those cookies. I had to do everything. I had to do everything myself, um, and just letting some of that go. And so, one of the things I've let go is one of my widower friends said, "Gina, would you like me to bring a Yule log?" I actually remember Yule logs and how delicious they were. And I went, instead of my usual dessert, always the same dessert every Christmas, I'm like, yeah, okay, you can bring a Yule log. And it's just even one thing that it's different and it'll be delicious because it's being made by the Italian bakery. So yummy. But it is calming it down. And so I have learned to segment and let things go and not over decorate and also at this point I still am working a little bit for our Coast Guard, but I have not the usual pressures. And, this time last year, I was planning my father's funeral. So it's a very different year this year. And just knowing that it's okay, this year is just fine. And the way it is all right. And so I'm sort of looking forward to feeling what it feels like to relax for a couple of weeks, even though people try to ramp up Christmas. I'm like, no, I think I'll just be peaceful and relaxed. So I'm grateful for having this conversation with you today.
Can you say what your luck is?
Oh, Yule log. Decor. It's a rolled cake with like the cream, not sweet, uh, rolled with cream icing and maybe jam. But then you decorate it with a chocolate icing to make it look like a log, and you put a little holly leaf on it to make it Christmassy. Oh, which
Okay.
reminds me of the other thing. I was pretty excited because I'm not a big decorator because I have a ton of it. My husband hates it. But my brother brought up my mom's embroidery from the Florida condo, and it's a Christmas theme, and it's about this big, and it's very beautiful embroidery, and it has some little birds embroidered on it, and then some real birds at the top, and a little bit of holly, and I made a hole in my front door so that I could hang it, and so that's my interesting thing for decorating. I've put this beautiful uh, work of art of my mother's on the front door, so I feel like it's It's kind of different. Something different this year, but not hard. All I had to do was screw a hole into my door. Yeah, it's fun. Thank you.
So how will be your peaceful Christmas, Beatrice and Victoria?
Well, I was just thinking about how this is a season of everything quieting down, or it's supposed to be. That's what nature does. And instead, we all amp up, and especially with my profession.
Yeah.
It's kind of the most busy. It's the production that we do the most shows of and have the most weeks of the whole year. So it's the opposite of peaceful. But I think maybe there can be a little bit of peace in the the routine of it or something. It's we've decorated our office at the theater with Christmas lights, and it's quite nice in there, um it's, next week is going to be long marathon, but we keep doing the same show. There's kind of a routine, and so maybe there's something to rest or be peaceful in there. Um so that's what I'm thinking about. Yeah, I hope that I can find time for rest on my holiday break. But it's also the time to visit with family and do things and catch up on other things. And my mother and I think it's waiting to be confirmed, but we're possibly doing a performance in April um, together, and this might be our only opportunity to actually work on it or talk about it in person. So our Christmas break may additionally be filled with activity. So, but I guess, yeah, somebody said it's a state of mind or something. I think that was Gertrude. So maybe that's what I need to find is the peace underneath.
Was that did she leave? There's an image now. Um, oh, I had something profound to say. Now I forgot what it was. Oh, there you are. Um, what was I going to say that was so profound? The piece underneath. Yeah, I think it. I think that's so interesting because we always think about the piece on the surface and the turbulence underneath. Like with people that don't express their emotions, they can be totally deadpan or always seem cheerful, and they're always cheerful no matter what. Like the sky could be falling in, and they're still cheerful. And you know that somewhere down deep in there, inside, there's some kind of turbulence. I mean, it's most likely, but they keep the surface smooth, and so that intrigues me. I'm going to think about that. The piece underneath, because there's certainly, yeah, I feel very integrated in my chaos right now. I feel like there's chaos on the surface and chaos underneath, and it's all chaos. So it's very consistent. Yeah, so I'm hoping for peace somehow, somewhere. But I have to say that, yeah, there's something about celebrating. It feels a little bit like procrastination. It's this fabulous, like, oh, we'll just do all these fabulous things and worry about the problems later. And my father-in-law, whom I also didn't know, so I seem to intimately know people that I never met. He was the city manager of the city of Linz, and so he had tons and tons of responsibilities, employees, and he used to say, "There's nothing so urgent that it won't become just a tiny bit more urgent if I leave it for a day." So I'll leave you all with that. It's my Advent message that there's nothing so urgent that it won't just be a little bit more urgent. So go for it. Yeah, peace to everybody, and thanks for being patient with my in and out today, and pray for that the guava seed will be successfully dislodged. Are we passing around I think, Monia, you haven't checked out yet. You did? Oh, am I off? Okay, I'm sorry. Okay. Heidi, is Heidi the last?
Obviously,
You're always the last. Okay.
I was the first today, so the last now. Yeah, what should I say? I find it absolutely right that with age, peace is easier because you realize that all this urgency, you have to show off what you can do and you have to do all this. It falls away. For me, also, Christmas urge is nowhere. I don't want to have gifts, and I don't give gifts to anybody. So, I mean, it's about 30 or 40 years that I have invented this agreement with myself, and the others, I don't care if they find it okay or not. I had this with Marcus, and he wanted to give me something for Christmas. I said, I don't want anything, and I don't even want to be obliged then to give back something. I give when I think, oh, that's a nice thing for the person, then I buy it. And I saw him to be preoccupied about 14 nephews, and everybody has to, and the daughters, and in Italy they say, chi me lo fa fare? Who is making me do this, So it's I won't be part of that. On the other hand, it's nice to get sometimes some gifts, but they must not be material. And I feel very much gifted in this moment of my life. So I'm really, really grateful. For me, this year was amazing. First, it started really like, and now it's the complete opposite. And I'm happy about that and very much looking forward to the future. And that now we talk about if you meet us again, otherwise next year. And I stop the recording. And to whoever is listening, Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. And to you, certainly too.